What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo, presented as always by Pure Options Crafted Cannabis. Telling you if the holidays are getting you, if life's getting you, whatever it might be, or if you're just feeling good and want to feel better, Pure Options is here for you. We are 2 days away from the 15 days of holidays from Pure Options. That's December 18th through January 1st. Get a free daily gift with a $20 purchase at any Pure Options location. Go to pureoptions.com for the location nearest you. Lansing, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Detroit, wherever it may be. Join their Pure Perks loyalty program. It's outstanding. All these deals, everything I might want, tailored to me, right to my inbox. Again, pureoptions.com. And our Monday afternoon show, brought to you by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. We are just around the corner from the holidays. If you are looking for a great gift, and I'm not talking about like just, oh shit, I forgot. Like, this will come across as something you put thought into, because the care that comes with a Muskox flannel, the comfort, the durability, it says, I love you, I think about you, I care about how you feel and how you look. And I'm telling you, there just is no better gift for the holidays than unwrapping a Muskox flannel and giving somebody that sort of comfort and that sort of quality. GoMuskox.com is the website, obviously, and Fix It in Post for $15 off your flannel purchase for Couch and the Rube listeners. They also have some great bundle options going on. Again, GoMuskox.com. Jason, how you doing, brother?
The toilets for the injuries. Hey, man.
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. That was a long toilet flush there. Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do this show. No,
I figured. Yeah, I wonder.
No,
I wonder where
I'm
you
just
were.
fine. No, yeah. I made the mistake of listening to 97.1 on the way in here and just listening to some of the calls, and it's just unbelievable that some of the mentality of some of the fan base.
Well, the good
it's
news
pretty
is,
interesting.
Good news is none of their callers are our listeners or are those who take place in our takes.
I know, but I'm just checking out the Montgomery news and hearing what people are saying, and you just hear callers calling in and like, I don't know about Jared. Like, they were even talking about Jared Goff yesterday, about like he could have been better. It's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's just like the irrational takes. I don't mind if you think this guy is falling with the injuries. And there's like one fan called in who was like talking about next year and how excited to have everybody back healthy. And I'm like, hang up on this MFer. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, let's. We've got a really good show. Our takes and yours. Some really good. The optimistic side of it is MSU basketball, right? MSU hockey, some MSU women's basketball, a lot of MSU men's basketball, and then there's the other side of it. And often I look at these shows and all the submitted takes from listeners, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be a long show for Jason reading the same question about MSU's center position or whatever.
Yeah, I don't mind those.
Today it's the Lions, though. It's going to be there's a lot of Michigan State basketball, but there's a good chunk of commiserating on the Lions and thoughts on the Lions and different viewpoints on the Lions. So let's dig in. Dig in.
Ifantu Melifonwu, we freaking love you, man.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Yeah, grit. I got grit. Grit gets you nothing. If you're slow and have no talent, grit gets you nothing. Yeah. All right, let's dig into our hot takes. Why don't you start?
By the way, I think Jared Goff at 20-1 for the MVP race. I know the media, the national media, and everyone is giving it to Josh Allen. By the way, Josh Allen, unbelievable. But the Bills still, they have 3 losses. I understand, and Michigan fan Jordan texted me this morning. He goes, "Are we 7-7 or 12-2? Like, what is the mentality?"
Hold on. You still think 20-1 is good value on Goff?
I still think it is, and here's why.
Hold on, before you do that, you give me the money for your bet, and if it wins, I will pay you out.
Okay, put 20 on it.
All right.
I'll give you $20.
Sounds good.
But I'm just saying, Jared Goff, since the Texans game, which everybody loves to talk about, which threw 5 picks but still won the game. 1,679 passing yards, 14 TDs, and 1 interception. Now, Jared Goff has to go on the road twice. If he can somehow win 2 of these out of the last 3, and maybe the Minnesota game, maybe if we beat Chicago, lose to San Fran, win that Minnesota game, get the number 1 seed and get the bye. Now, I wish we had Josh Allen's schedule, the Bills' schedule. They have the Patriots twice and the Jets left. But if Josh Allen if he stumbles in one of those games, possibly the Bills lose that game, I think 20-1, I think you could get some decent value out of Jared Goff, because Jared Goff has been playing out of his effing mind. And with all of these injuries, and everybody nationally is seeing how bad the injuries are, especially with Montgomery. And if he doesn't play if Montgomery's out for the year, if somehow Jared Goff can lead this team to 15 wins, 14 wins, the number 1 seed, the first round bye that we need, how can you not vote for this guy as MVP?
Because what we just saw from Josh Allen was special at another level. But
that defense is still terrible too. I mean, they have to score a lot of points, and Jared Goff has been doing the same thing.
So is the Bills, and the difference is Jared Goff cannot move like Josh Allen, and because Josh Allen can move and throw like he does, that's why the Lions.
I get what happened yesterday. I get what happened the previous 3 games. Josh Allen looks amazing. I'm just saying for 20-1 value.
Okay.
I think Jared Goff has been getting disrespected in this MVP race up and down the whole time. I mean, how Lamar Jackson is still ahead of Jared Goff is beyond me. I just think that it's getting disrespected. If you want to sprinkle, book me $20 on that shit.
All right, I'll take your 20.
And by the way, teacups.org. I'm wearing the shirt today. We forgot to promote. We got a couple more days if you guys want some couch. We had some orders come in over the weekend. If you want to get some stuff in, teacups.org. But anyway, Jared Goff, 20-1. I think there's some decent value there.
I love the way you weave in. You think I'm a pro at weaving in live reads. The way you just weaved in teacups to
well, I did look down at my shirt, and I was like, oh, shit, yeah, right. I wore the teacups.org shirt today. It's just amazing. Again, amazing. Thank you, everyone that's ordered. We're going to put everyone in a little generator thing. We're going to give away a $25 gift card for everyone that ordered. I know we were going to try to do a picture of the ornament on your tree, but we'll do it the other way, so. Anyway, but yeah, that was my first. I don't know. I'm not like the sky is falling. I think that with getting Anzalone back and some of these guys back, I mean, the injuries are absolutely atrocious, and I can't stand them anymore. And if Montgomery's out for the season, I mean, at least we have Jahmyr Gibbs to fall back on. And like I say, as long as Jared Goff and Brian Branch, we can keep those 2 guys standing up. If we didn't have such a terrible come out flat in that first quarter yesterday, I really think we could have won that game. I mean, we weren't. I don't know.
So. Let me
didn't depress me as much yesterday as it should have.
Let me ask you this: the injuries are atrocious. Like we talk about injuries being an every year thing in the NFL, and that is true. There are a lot of beat up teams and banged up secondaries, but it's not often that you lose pretty much all your top guys on the defensive line like this.
Right.
So, but next year, just know that they're going to lose half the guys they lost this year. So, next year's not like, oh, this was just one bet. This is it in the NFL. So. But
it shouldn't be this bad.
It shouldn't be this bad.
I understand injuries happen, but man, this is unbelievable.
Let me get into my sort of pure options, off the wall bake theory that everybody makes fun of about the idea of holding off on some players. And I understand it's extreme, but is the NFL?
I don't think it's extreme. I think we just heard it 70 times.
Well, that's fair. But is the NFL? That's welcome to my wife's life. This is the conversation we had like 20 minutes ago. Is the NFL goes to 18 games soon, and Lord knows you're supposed to survive 18 of these freaking games coming up soon and have a decent roster in the playoffs. I'm not saying, you don't start any of your top dudes. Just play all your third stringers. What I'm saying is you see the way the NBA and they do, and people hate, and the NBA is taking a lot of grief for this, and it doesn't help the NBA with ratings, and it hurts their product during the season. They have load management. What I am saying is some strategic way of trying to get to the season with some insurance. Through the season with some insurance, with it being more likely that you're healthy in the playoffs. And what I'm putting out there for the conversation would be, because rosters are going to expand when they go to 18 games as is, and you don't have to have these people on your active roster anyway. I would keep one capable, fairly versatile, probably a tackle offensive lineman that I didn't play until week 11, that I had, unless there's a really bad injury and you need them earlier. I would keep 2 defensive backs, because that's the position that goes down the most, that are capable. I'm not talking to your best defensive, but capable.
On your practice squad? They get to watch the games?
Yep, just working out. I would keep at least one rush end who's, not Aiden Hutchinson, but really solid, somebody who's capable, so you don't have to make that trade. One linebacker. I would keep one running back who was pretty capable player. And I would pay these people, that would be part of me trying to maneuver to get there, because the Lions may wind up with a 1 seed still. But if I would much rather have the 3 seed, the 4 seed, and have a roster that's healthier than this. I just
but you want that 1 seed. You want home playoff games at Ford Field.
You do. I'm just saying.
It's just not feasible what you're saying.
Okay, maybe it's not.
Right.
But you know who else isn't going to happen this year? A Lions Super Bowl. And so
okay, Rex Road.
Wow.
You two MFers.
Yeah. Well, all right. We'll
really
get
the
it.
Lions are out of it. You know, the Bills are in the AFC. Like, who else in the NFC kind of really scares you, even with the depleted injuries the Lions have?
Okay.
Scary?
Yeah.
Scary if we have a home playoff, if we have home field advantage. I don't know if the Eagles scare me.
Okay. Well,
I mean, Hurts has that injured thumb too. They're injuries away too. I mean,
I'm really
there's 3 weeks to go.
I'm really curious to see this defense stop anybody.
Me too.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Anybody.
Yeah.
All right.
But
so,
again, that was a Bills defense. I mean, if the Bears do it this weekend, then I understand there's room for panic. But the Bills have been scoring 30 points a week for how many weeks? Right?
Yeah.
And we were still an onside kick away from maybe tying that game. And by the way, the Dan Campbell onside kick, I wasn't a fan of it in the moment, but after it, again, I'm just living and dying with you. These decisions, you're just going to have to live with Dan Campbell. I don't know if you can get offended by some of these. I mean, it didn't work. He takes ownership for it after the game. Obviously, he doesn't want to lose these games, so I don't get that pissed off by that.
My only issue with Dan Campbell, he is who he is, and the team buys into it, and the aggressive nature, and that's sort of what they are. But my only concern with Dan Campbell is not in that moment, because in that moment, the idea, even if it's like, 7-8% these work these days, at that point your defense wasn't stopping anybody anyway. The problem is you have to notify them that you're doing it. So that's the hard part about the onside kick. But beyond that, I didn't have a huge issue yesterday because it just didn't seem like they were going to get the ball.
What about the timeouts?
I wouldn't have done it. Yeah, the
timeouts
late
was
in the year
curious.
was bad. And so my issue with Dan Campbell is the lack of timeout before the 2-minute warning, which is a very obvious. Like he just made the wrong decision.
Well, it kind of worked because there was 3 seconds. It was 2 minutes and 3 seconds,
yeah,
so it stopped
but they
before
should
the
have
2
the
minute
ball
warning.
instead of with 30. It should have been about 33 more seconds on the clock when they were actually. It was the wrong decision, and that concerns me. And what concerns me a little bit is you only get so many of these shots, and at some point the Lions may again have the best roster in the NFL in the NFC Championship game, and there are no more, as Izzo would say, my bads. Like, at that point, if Dan Campbell's like, yeah, I just screwed it up, and nobody's going to be like, oh, well, Dan Campbell. No, you can't screw it up again in the big moment.
Yeah, but fans wanted to blame him last year for the NFC Championship, and it wasn't his fault. Going for it was the right move. It was Reynolds who dropped those passes.
True.
That
Absolutely.
were great play calls. So,
Yep.
I mean, you want to get mad at Campbell, but it's just you either ride or you die. Either you don't want to be a part of it or you are full-on a part of it. And I'm okay with Dan Campbell making a decision like that, like you said. With it not, you can't really stop the clock until it's 5 minutes and under. So, I mean, I can understand kicking that onside kick and trying it, even at a low percentage when the D is banged up and not stopping anybody. So,
best coach in Lions history by far. I don't think there's a question about that, and I think that.
well, yeah.
Who else would be it?
No, I'm saying but I'm saying who else are you going to throw up there? Wayne Fonts,
Right, and before a certain era, I mean, everybody just
Caldwell. I know people would put Caldwell in there, but
Well, everybody ran the veer before 1980, so like those coaches don't count because they couldn't even coach high school football today. So that's a whole different conversation. All right, we'll get back to the Lions. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change the tone here because I think that it is people could use some MSU hoops optimism.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
Just wrote a column that went up on Michigan State men's basketball start.
Don't
and
coach my team.
how real it is, and I think that is, the question at this point. 10 games in, like, is what we're looking at. Because, they have a great win over North Carolina, which they held on, but they look really good for a while. They have, impressive wins over a decent Nebraska team, which just, thumped Indiana. All Indiana's pretty bad right now. And they took care of wire to wire a Minnesota team. Like, they played 5 high major games. They've won 3 of them. They were competitive in the other 2 to the end. They're finally shooting decently. Like, how real is this? Is this back to pre-pandemic levels? Because when we say is MSU basketball back, that's what everybody's talking about. March 8th, 2020, the last time it was like of a certain, you could count on them being a contender most years and, for Final Fours in the Big Ten. And the argument when you start to look at the numbers is yes. And I went through a lot of data with Ken Palm, especially all of Ken Palm since 96, 97, and the last in the Izzo era, in the last 10 years especially. And there are, I got to give Eric credit because he was one of the early guys a couple years ago saying the rebounding numbers are the most telling. There's a correlation with MSU's rebounding struggles with the fall from being an elite program, right? An elite team. And this year, Michigan State is offensive rebound percentage via Ken Palm is 35.9. 35.9% of available offensive rebounds they're pulling in, right? That is significantly better than any of the previous 4 seasons. And the most any MSU team has hauled in by percentage since 2017-18. That's Jaren Jackson, Tillman, Nick Ward, all those guys. And it is, it's not quite like the early is than even other eras. And a lot of that has to do with Jackson Kohler, 8.3 rebounds a game, it's been since Tillman's 10.3 that a player is averaged that starting a year. And Matt Costello, I'll give you some context. Everybody thinks it's 2015-16 senior year, Matt Costello, great center, good rebounder. He was 8.2 rebounds a game. Right now, Kohler's at 8.3. And there are other, you get rid of Sissoko, who dropped 1 million balls, and you wind up with a larger guy and a taller guy, and Zapala, who's 7 feet, makes a difference. Lots of growth. There are lots of reasons this is happening. The free throws, all right, another reason to think this is different. MSU's free throw rate relative to field goals is 40.3% per Ken Palm. That number was in the high 20s the last 3 seasons. Not a team that got to the line a lot. In the mid-30s for the decade before that. The only season in which the Spartans were getting to the free throw line at a greater clip, 2008-09, when they lost in Ford Field to North Carolina in the championship game, and that was 41%, just barely. That's it. And that team only made 69% of the free throws. This team is the best free throw shooting team so far in the history of MSU basketball, 80.4%. They're making more points at the free throw line relative to field goals and shots and everything than any MSU basketball team ever. These are things that if you can sustain them to a level, help you win games. And they clearly have a knack for getting to the line. They clearly are a better rebounding team. There are other things about 2-point field goal percentage at 59%, which is way higher than anybody in MSU in the Ken Palm era. They're up in offensive efficiency. There's a lot of different numbers, and it's all written up at lsj.com, greenandwhite.com. That column went up a little before we started recording. But it's an important note because when they haven't played a full Big Ten slate and they've just played one sort of average Big Ten team and one bad Big Ten team, and the average team was at home and the bad team was on the road, and so you really don't know what you're seeing. It's important, I think, to sort of dive into the numbers in historical context, and there's some tangible data there that just says what's happening right now is really good and is real. And now there are still concerns I have. The biggest concern I have for this team is what happens in late game situations against good teams in the half court, how they get buckets. And does that become Jace Richardson? Does that become, through movement? Where do they find that? Because we saw it against Memphis, and it didn't look great. And it's something I still have questions about. But every other area, I don't see a real weakness that is going to be exploited in the Big Ten. I think this team is going to contend. I don't know that they're going to win the Big Ten, but I think they'll be a top 4 Big Ten team, and I think the numbers are showing they are better than anything they've been since before the pandemic.
I want to believe, Graham, but what about the 3-point percentage? I know the last 2 games against Nebraska and Minnesota, they shot the 3 well, but in other games, I want to believe in the free throw percentage, like you said, and the rebounding, fantastic. But I think the 3-point percentage, that would start to make me feel, like it's real.
Yeah, no.
Against Oakland, if they shoot, 39% from 3, then it'll start to go, okay, we're starting to shoot better from 3. I think that's the most important factor for me.
Yeah, if they remain they're still at 27% something for the year. If they stay, and I don't believe that's what they are. But if 3-point shooting becomes an issue, or remains an issue that is something that bites them time and time again, that will absolutely hinder them. The one thing they do also have going for them, though, 59.2% from inside the arc. Right, that's about 10 points higher than any of their last 4 seasons, and the best mark under Izzo. Right, so that's 4 points higher than they were in 2017-18. And what's happening? Cohen Carr dunks, right? High percentage shot. And MSU has figured out how to rely on him, and he's figured out how to morph himself into the offense more than a year ago. Zapala finishes layups 75 times better than Mady Sissoko did, right? So you're not missing as many rebounds. You got guys like Jace Richardson, who's a smooth and efficient player inside the arc. There are a lot of reasons. They're getting to the hoop. They're getting fouled instead of missing shots without getting fouled. And so there are a lot of reasons it's like that, but that is one of the positive sides. They are like better at shooting twos than they've been at any point. Now, part of that's also recently when they had Tyson Walker and Gabe Brown, and they took a lot of hard, long twos, right? That was one of the things that was part of the downside of what they were doing. And you still see a little of that, although I think somebody asked last Friday the difference between Jaden Akins and Gabe Brown, and if you swap those on their respective final seasons. And Jaden Akins is just way better at finding teammates and better with the ball in his hands, at creating. You just see him going to the rim a lot more. He does take occasional, step back twos, but it's nowhere near the same number and volume of that. So anyway, I think what you're seeing is I don't think we're going to know for sure for a little while because they play Oakland in Detroit on Tuesday night. They play FAU, which, okay team, but not a team they should beat at home.
But if you're going to shoot the three well against anyone, Oakland is a good one to
absolutely
kind of do it again.
Then they got Western. They should be 11-2, but they were 11-2 in 2022 as well after at that stage going back into Big Ten play. The difference was back then all these other numbers weren't as good. And so we'll see if this sustains. But right now, the numbers behind the numbers say they should be a team that contends in the Big Ten. They should be a program similar to what they were the decade before the pandemic. What's your next take?
It shocks me, because before the season with the NIL and the transfer portal, we talked about, how is the NCAA going to handle this? Are we just going to let the teams and the players just kind of run roughshod with no rules? And it just shocks me and surprises me that when stories come out like the Marshall story where they're going to have to cancel their bowl game against Army, I guess, because 22 players transferred out. Are we surprised by that? Are you shocked that if a coach from Marshall leaves, the players are going to follow? And also from the Penn State kid, Bo Prabula, is that his name? The backup quarterback for Penn State who's going to transfer when they're in the college football playoff. And by the way, Drew Aller said he's coming back, but you never know what happens to Drew Aller in the college football playoff, right? You're next man up. And I understand the kid has to sit there and go, well, I can't sit there and wait out my options because, other teams are wanting their quarterback. They want this guy now. And if Aller's coming back, I understand the player has to make a decision. But this kid's from Pennsylvania. This kid grew up a Penn State fan. How you would sit there and leave a team like that in a college football playoff under any circumstance blows my mind. But what blows my mind the most is that we're shocked that the NCAA has no idea what to do about it. Do we not have any meetings going on? Are you guys talking about what to do for next year? That's what concerns me the most as a college football fan, is that people are still surprised by what's going on.
So with Drew Aller's backup leaving, he spelled it out. The problem they have right now, and I don't know how they fix this, is the calendar.
Change the transfer portal when you can transfer.
Well,
right?
how do you do that
after the bowl games?
No, because the semester starts like the beginning of January. People got to move. They got to do it doesn't work. The whole system is based on this being tied to education, which is done. We have a sport where you give yourself concussions and and CTE and make yourself a less stable person and likely to die of all sorts of stuff earlier. We tied that to education and we called it football, and which we all love it. I'm just saying, it is still tied to education in the sense of so maybe we ask schools to change their calendars. It's tough. It's not a good situation. For me, it's tricky for the teams in the playoff. But I think if we start to acknowledge that this is the beginning of the end of the other bowls, and we just deal with it, then we're okay with it. Because those schools, and maybe they'll exist to some degree for gambling, and they'll be on TV, and we like them and whatever, and it's fine. But a lot of teams won't be able to play in them because they'll have too many players in the transfer portal, and they won't be a priority to many teams, nor should they. Your priority should be next year's roster if you're in one of those bowls and not in the playoff. It should not be preparing for that bowl game. I think with the playoff teams, we have to get to a point, and maybe there are with contracts and other things and semester calendars, where we understand that that players are going to have to look around if they don't want to be there next year. If you're a quarterback, or you're somebody who wants a different opportunity, but you want to help your team, teams are going to have to get over the idea that this person's abandoning us. No, they're not. They're inconveniencing themselves by staying with you while they find their next place, right? I think that's tricky. The calendar sucks. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to get around it. And obviously, I think it will help when we do have student athletes as employees and they're under contract, and some guys can't leave till May. You're under a 1-year deal with a program, and there's all sorts of different rules, or you're under a longer deal with. there's buyouts and whatever. I hope we get to that point, and I hope we get to a point where it makes a little more sense. Right now, you have tied something to a situation where semesters matter, and the start of a semester matters. I don't think there's any way to make this smooth, and it's a sport that probably shouldn't exist in the educational realm. It's a setup that shouldn't exist in the educational realm, and it does, and we like it, and we've liked it for years, even when it was a system that didn't always benefit the athletes. And so now we're
do you trust the NCAA to come up with rules that would make sense? Like, I just think that they're going to come up with heavy-handed rules.
They'll get
and
sued out of the rules.
Right, and the players are going to go, F you. I'm not signing up for this. What are you going to do without us? We're the players. And then you just have this battle back and forth. I just feel like you should have had some sort of baseline rules going in before this season.
Oh, it wouldn't matter if they did. They get sued out of it. Right now, they get sued out of anything. You want to start? I bet you could start for Penn State in the playoff, because you could sue and say it's not fair that Drew Aller gets to start, and you'd probably win that lawsuit. If the NCAA was the plaintiff, you would win.
Let me lawyer up then.
Yeah, I mean, because right now they can't win a single lawsuit.
Pay me $20,000 to go away.
There you go. Yep, that's what we all need to do. Just sue for our right to play. You want to play shooting guard tomorrow night for Michigan State against Oakland? Go ahead and sue for it. That's what everybody's doing. The NCAA is now. A lot of this is a backlash, right? We go through this in a lot of things. This is the backlash to years of an oppressive system that probably never should have existed as it existed, that we all loved. It's the system that allowed college athletics to thrive, that allowed us to fall in love with it, and athletes need to be aware of that too. People need to be aware that it was an oppressive system that created our love for it. The system that exists now would not work. We would not have the emotional connection. They're lucky in some ways that it did exist, but everything is a backlash. We deal with this in regular life right now. We're dealing with this in politics. Things are a response to the COVID era, and people are frustrated. They were angry, and so they take it out the way they take it out. People respond. Right now, this is a response in college athletics, and I hope, once we have revenue sharing and as we go closer to the line of employees, that things start to get sorted out to some degree. I don't really have anything else that's good.
I have one more thing, and it's with Scott Harris related quickly with the signing of Alex Cobb. And Alex Cobb came out today and basically was saying, yeah, I was going to retire. I was shocked by the interest. And I understand it's a $15 million one-year deal, and it's not that big of a deal. But if we're talking about how cheap the Tigers are, and we're talking about 37-year-old pitchers, when our pitching staff, we're kind of deep. Right, when guys are going to be healthy for next year, to have a guy like Alex Cobb say that out loud, it just makes you, I want to believe in Scott Harris, but he kind of has that smarmy kind of look about him, and he says stuff in the media where you're kind of like, just don't say that.
It's
just not, and now Alex Cobb, by the way, Scott Harris, Alex Cobb are friendly, so Scott Harris has background on him. I do trust, Harris and his development and stuff like that, but it annoys me as we're being labeled cheap and the mentality is cheap, and we sit there and go, for guys that are like, man, I didn't see any interest, so we could have got him for what, 10 mil or whatever. So
yeah.
Anyway,
no, I feel like if
can we just go away, Scott Harris? Him and the Kelseys, after football season, can you guys just go for a couple months? Snoop Dogg, stop airing the T-Mobile commercial for 2 months.
Harris has a very punchable face. I feel like if Harris were to buy somebody a flannel for Christmas, it'd be from Kmart or some. He's got a stupid. It just wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the quality of a muskox. It wouldn't be.
See, now Osmus was the perfect punchable face guy, but yeah, I can see it with Harris.
It's annoying. It's
smarmy smart guy thing.
All right, we ready to dig into these listener takes?
Yes.
You didn't sound very confident.
I know. I put it in another thing here, so there we go. All right. Where are we at? All right, no live read to start.
Okay.
Hold on. All right, Dominic up first. Sorry. The number one, the Lions injury bug is sad, but Jesus, Couch, get a hold of your emotional ass crew. Between Rex Rhodes saying they won't win a playoff game, Charbonneau saying the game was over when it wasn't, and Chris Vanini, bedwettings, they sound like a bunch of 13-year-old prepubescent Comparonis. 2, I firmly believe Chris Ilitch is going to play with his dick for 4 months and do nothing. Sorry, Mama Neurotic Pants. And 3, gambling is fucking ass. And thanks for sharing all your futures with the rest of us, Gramanito. Simon says, shove it up your ass, respectfully. And bonus, T lost and her side business is awesome. Super grateful. Teacups.org. Yeah, that's Dominic ordered a little side thing. I don't want to announce it because I think he's giving it away. So.
Oh, yeah. It could be a gift for another listener.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Dominic.
Yeah.
Teacups.org.
Couple things here. I do feel bad about I have never been this good. And so if you're over the course of doing NFL futures, maybe I've been doing this, 15 years? Yeah, maybe not even that long. 10 years? Something
Didn't
like
we
that.
talk about futures? I mean, we
did. And I had
before
a few,
the season.
We put a few of them out, I think. But over the course of them, I'm usually not that good. Like, so in the hindsight, yeah, it would have been great to share the fact that I won almost everything. The problem is I didn't know I was going to do that, and my track record suggested that I was not. So I was not like sitting there like, I have it this year. I'm telling you, everybody, mortgage the house. So that's my issue.
I know when you rattled them off, people were like, "Did he really win those?" And I'm like, "You would lie." I mean,
it's good. Right. Yeah, no, I'm happy.
I think.
Yeah. So, but I.
And what's up with your boys, by the way? What's up with? Is Rexrow just trying to start shit? I mean, is he anti-Lions or what? What's going on? And you guys, you get mad about how people come at you on Twitter, but then you do shit like that and wonder why people come at you firing. So why would you be mad?
I didn't see any of it because I don't have Twitter anymore. It's only on my computer, and I wasn't near my computer. So it's a beautiful world. Like, part of the problem, and I apologize for people who tweet at me too. I'm going to see and respond to like 10% of tweets now because I just don't see it anymore.
Go on Blue Sky.
Go to Blue Sky.
See it over there.
I'll hit there. That's still on my phone. You can hit me there. And I do get on Twitter, and sometimes I see like, oh my God, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. But yeah, and maybe I'll go back. It's very inconvenient not to have it on your phone. I'll be honest. It's not been, even with the show. It's like, I can't actually get to it right now. Jeez. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they said. I understand there's this guy. People always want to make fans feel bad who already feel horrible. Like we all know that the Lions are in trouble a little bit. Yeah. Like, this isn't good. We all know that, right? We all look at
12-2, we're in trouble.
Well, you all look at like McNeil out for the year or something like that. And you're like, that ain't good. We all get that. You don't need to hear it, And
I hope Campbell and Brad Holmes, they play the audio of some of these like talking heads talking about our backups and like to motivate our backups, practice guys that can come in and next man up. Let's go.
So here's the hope for the Super Bowl to me in getting into the playoffs. You got to get the 1 seed somehow. And it's still possible because, 2 of your next 3 games, even though they're on the road, are against teams that are beaten up and flawed themselves, right? The 49ers scare me more than the Bears. But and then you get a home game against Minnesota, and you hope that's for the marbles and you can beat Minnesota. And
for the marbles.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
For the flannels?
Whole enchilada.
For the flannels.
For the flannels.
For all the flannels. For all the Muskox flannels.
Light bulb just went off.
GoMuskox.com for all the quality flannels. Again, plenty of time. Get your orders in for Christmas. You hope that happens, and then you look at the NFC and who they might have to play, and they're at home, and you get through, and then you have one shot in the Super Bowl, and you come up with a plan, whoever they're playing, that works, that's different than people expect. It's not, the odds aren't great though. They're just not. I mean, it sucks. Would you pick Green Bay right now over the Lions to win the Super Bowl? I would. Yeah.
All right. What action do you want to book? I'll book it with you. What do you want?
We'll put the same $20 you just gave me for the Josh Allen, for the Jared Goff MVP. We'll put it back on that.
Okay.
All right.
Deal. Professor, with injuries suck. That was it.
They do. There's no doubt about it. It's just,
I mean, injuries are a thing, obviously, but when they're injuries to this magnitude, it's like, come on, man. I think the Montgomery thing pushed me over the edge. I didn't want to flip out or anything, but the Montgomery news, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Here's what I don't want. I guess this is what I don't want from Lions fans. I don't want next year in week 4 when the first starter goes down for the year, because that's pretty late for the first starter to go down for the year, for everybody to go, again, why the Lions? Fire their trainers. This sucks. This is the NFL. If you want to shit on my idea about holding some guys out, the whole thing is not sustainable. This is why you have to have an elite quarterback. And Jared Goff may be that. I'm just saying the difference yesterday, other than the Lions getting behind, not being able to run the ball in a bit, was one quarterback can move like the wind, and the other guy moves like me and Jason, even though he's a really good quarterback. So let's just note that. Okay.
It was an impressive run, that one run he had. That was just like, oh my God, it just lasted forever. Mike DeShelter next. MSU has been playing insane team basketball since they landed on Maui. No reason why they can't win the Big Ten. And bonus, I'd recommend a trip to Maui over a Final Four. 12 rows from the court beats watching a basketball game in an NFL stadium.
100%. If you watch the Final Four at home, that's why it sucks that the Final Four is going to be in Detroit again in a couple of years. A lot of Michigan State fans will go. I
gotta say, that's a great take. Does he get a gift card?
Well, it will make it the Muskox take of the day, right?
Yeah.
That's a great.
To go to Maui, I agree with him.
It's a good take. It's
Hawaii.
It's not one that stands alone necessarily, but Muskox is a good herd. We all agree with this. But So yes, and for this, Muskox will send an extra $5 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservancy, just like they do with every flannel purchase. When you go to gomuskox.com, look, one of the things we love about Muskox is they make great flannels, comfortable, make us look good, but they also quality people who care about the environment, and they've been a great partner with us here at Couch on the Roof. Again, gomuskox.com. Fix it in post for $15 off your flannel purchase. Make it a Christmas gift for yourself, for somebody you love in your life. And they also work on the beach in Maui, by the way. I totally agree with this. Like, in terms of cost, too, the Maui Invitational is no more expensive than often going to a Final Four. And I'm not saying if your team isn't in the Final Four in some destination, that's not really fun to be around. But in terms of viewing, it's way better on TV. Unless you have
as many people.
Unless you have a great seat. And I'm not saying if you can get a great seat, fine. But those are really, really expensive. In Maui, you're in a little bandbox, like high school gym area, just 100 yards from the ocean. And it is such a cool environment. And those games are, what's great about them is there's a lot of energy and excitement because everybody's that close to their team and they're good games. But there also isn't if you lose a Final Four game, people feel awful. You don't enjoy that night, right? Whereas, you need pure options like crazy. Whereas if you're in Hawaii and you lose a game in November, it's like, well, that was fun. That sucked. But you know what? Let's go to the beach. Let's go snorkel. Let's go out to eat. It is, I'm telling you right now, he's 100% right. I would recommend that trip to absolutely
anybody. And the
anybody.
Final Four, you have to sell your ticket, right? If you lose that first game, isn't that how it goes?
You don't have to, but
you don't have to, but you're right. You don't want to stay for the.
A lot of people do. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Jarrett next. This will be the first time in 20 years men's and women's MSU basketball will make the Final Four in the same year.
Yeah, they did in 05. I would love to do it as a columnist because you're traveling back and forth between places. There's a ton of energy around both teams. I know
Todd would be rock hard.
Todd Schultz got to do it. I'd like to use a different term. It's not like a donut here, but
khakis would be rock hard.
But
Todd Schultz got to do it.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
Todd Schultz got to do it.
It's I think it was St. Louis and Minneapolis, wherever it was. I
go back and look at his coverage.
I would not bet on this, but I think the men's team has a better shot than the women's team, and I only say this because the women's game, I still think there are levels there's a little less parity, and the women would have to get through a couple teams that are going to have more talent than them. Now, their style, though, it does wear people down in the fourth quarter, and Iowa is a really sound team that's going to be a second round Sweet 16 style tournament team, and I think Michigan State has a legitimate shot to get the sort of seed where they host the first two rounds at Breslin, which would be very, very cool.
Why are you so down on the women's team?
Nobody said that. I just wrote 3 quick takes on the women's game yesterday. It was an amazing game against Iowa. It was unbelievable.
You said they have no shot. That's what I heard.
I'm saying I would. I'm saying if I had to bet one or the other, I would bet the men's team over the women's team, just based on what I think is out there in women's basketball.
Alan Pearlstein next. The NCAA is going to have to keep the portal closed until after the bowl games. If they don't, between pro prospects sitting out and players entering the portal, smaller bowl games may have trouble pairing up 2 teams with winning records. A sad commentary on the bowl system.
You just can't do it, though. Unless you want to play the bowl games by December 7th. People have to make decisions about where they're going to live, where they're going to go to school. It can't just be about fans and bowls. Fuck the bowls. If what we're trying to do is create a good system in college football that creates a great playoff, maybe expand the playoff a little bit, get that up so you have, another, I don't know, full round, but maybe there aren't as many. Maybe you go to 16 teams, and you get rid of the bowls, and that's the thing that goes last. The bowls are an antiquated system that worked under the way we used to do it. We don't do that anymore, and the bowls don't fit. The first thing that goes is the bowls. The bowls have to freaking go. Nobody gives a shit about them. They're hanging on. They're just greedy people they're trying to get theirs while they can, and bowls got to go. The bowls have to go. If everything else doesn't fit, the bowls go.
But what about the argument that the bowls mean something to the communities where the bowl games are? Right,
that's great.
That means I keep.
That's not enough. That's not enough of an argument.
I'm just saying, just because I don't care and I wouldn't gamble on it or watch them. Do other people? There's a lot of things I don't care about that people love.
Detroit doesn't care about the Motor City Bowl. I guess Mobile does about their game, and there are places.
But there are some people that do, and maybe make a thing out of it every time.
It would suck to lose it, and I wish we were less of a country about who survives is, dog eat dog. I wish we would, if we wanted to survive, if we wanted to keep like 12 bowl games and make those sort of secondary bowl games a big deal, I wish we would pick out communities that actually benefited from them and used them or were historic games and stick to those. We won't do that because we suck. We suck as humans. We absolutely suck as humans. Like, we don't even in England, for example, and I'm a Brit, so I respect.
You're a bloke.
This. I'm a bloke. When they wanted a super league, in European football, when partly American owners of English and teams and all these people wanted a super league that would have hurt the Champions League, that would have hurt the Premier League, would have hurt all these other leagues over there, would have hurt the culture they have. You know who rioted and looted? Manchester United fans, the big boys. That's like Ohio State standing up for Central Michigan. Central Michigan's a bad example, but you know what I mean. Ohio State standing up for Tulane and saying, fuck it, they got to still get theirs. We don't do that here, even if it would help us. That's not how we behave.
Ohio State sticking up for Tulane.
Yeah, right. It's laughable, right?
What a world that would be.
The greatest example of how much we suck as humans in this country is that Ohio State. We laugh at the idea that Ohio State would stand up for Tulane.
People are ass. Nestle's Quick Hotel. The Lions have a 0% chance of making the Super Bowl with that defense. I'd put the chances at even winning a playoff game under 5%. Still the best run of my lifetime. Still going to watch and hope, but hope is all that's left. And from Suburban Man of Leisure, I've resigned myself to the fact that the Lions' magical run ends before the Super Bowl. It's unfair to this fan base that the defense is wrecked. Can't be expected to score every drive to win a game. Thanks for calling 97-1. Thanks for your call.
Are you going to go to a playoff game this year if the Lions are home for 2?
I would love to, as long as I'm not priced out. Like last year was my thing. Like that Rams game, I needed to be there, 50-yard line. But, I can watch it on television. If Michigan fan Jordan gets tickets from work, I would love to go. But, there's a price, I'm not going to sit there and spend $5,000 or, $2,000 to go to some of these games. I don't know. I would love to, though.
I think we should do something with pure options in the Lions. Like, they've got to have, because there is no better, there ought to be, after a Lions injury, there ought to be a pure options deal. Like, you get the McNeil deal, whatever, where you go in and it's like,
McNeil
deal. You go in, you're like, injury, defensive lineman. They're like, 20% off. Here you go.
David Montgomery's out for the year. I need your help. What do I get?
Yeah,
How much THC?
I will tell you, Pure Options is good for that. And I was at a Christmas party the other night and brought some Pure Options for the group. And it was we had a little bowl in the middle. Luckily, no kids there. It was
in a
safe,
bowl? Like you were smoking out of a bowl?
No, like a big bowl, and everybody brought their edibles and everything, and we dumped it in. Anybody could grab.
Really?
It was great.
Another bowl for everybody's keys.
And I'll say this: as much as I talk about Groovy Donuts being the type of thing that you want to, when you show up at a Christmas party, people are happy you're there.
Yeah.
People don't hate you for bringing Pure Options either. You show up at a Christmas party or any event, and you've got a little extra to share.
Like, Couch, why don't you do this at these Hallmark parties? These things are boring as shit.
Yeah.
Lighten these up a little bit with some weed.
PureOptions.com for location information and to join the Pure Perks loyalty program. And remember, the 15 days of holidays starts December 18th. PureOptions.com. Did I not answer the question? I don't know if I did.
I don't know. I think you did.
Yeah, we did.
With a live read. Mr. Benjen, a one-and-done playoff appearance for the Lions just entered the realm of possibilities.
Yep, it did.
It was always in the realm of possibilities, right?
Yep.
Jesus. C-Dubs 91 hot take. This will be the last time the Lions lose this season. All right, there we go, C-Dubs. Reasonable. Every MSU versus Oakland game needs to be on a Friday or Saturday in Detroit. And agreeable. You both hit the nail on the head last week that statues need to be publicly vetted before officially cast.
It just makes sense. So many of them are bad. Do we not have enough people who are good at this?
Is it? I can't believe that we hit the nail on the head. I figured that would be a common sense thing of like, hey, man, we're going to commission you for a statue. Can we see it before it's like cast in whatever the end result, right? Can we see the face? I think the face has to be agreed upon the whole thing. If you want to sit there and make a body, that whatever.
I just don't understand why people suck at it so bad. I don't get it.
I mean, it's a hard thing to do. I guess it's a skill, but I mean,
is it hard?
But even if there's, what is there? There are 10 sculptors in the United States. Can we find them? And
it's probably more than 10.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I mean, there must not be. How many statues are around the country, around at stadiums?
That's a good point.
I need numbers. You want some off? Scott, you next. Number one, Izzo's ability to keep all these guys on the roster is amazing and can't be understated. Keeping guys like Kohler and Holloman around is clutch where they are at as juniors. Now let's hope he sees Jace as maybe a 2-year player and backfills that spot in the 2026 class. 2, the number one issue MSU has with the Thanksgiving weekend game is that they don't play a key protected rival like 14 to 18 Big Ten teams. Leaves us with Rutgers, Maryland, or Penn State. If MSU played Notre Dame or Michigan, that game, the stadium would be packed. Obviously, it won't ever happen.
I do think as people see what's happening with Indiana, and some of that's Mike Woodson, who clearly just isn't great at this. But I do think as you see teams that don't have roster stability, what Izzo has done there, and we'll see how long he's able to keep it and what Michigan State basketball looks like long term. But I think it's something to sort of cherish and hold on to, and the fact that you do get to know these guys. You do get to with Michigan State, there is still a sense this feels a little bit like, even though they're making good money, the old times and something you were connected to, and I think that's important. I think your other point here, these are really good, Scott. You're right. A lot of, when Michigan State had Penn State at the end, and that was at least the land-grant trophy, it was something that was becoming, if not a rivalry, a tradition. And, not having that, and when you do get a crap game and you wind up with it 5 out of 6 years at home, it's not great. It's just not. And there ought to be a little more consideration to that.
David Cox next. MSU will not lose one game this season where they shoot 30% or better from 3. And over 90% from free throw.
Well, I mean,
both those would be great.
They haven't yet, I don't think. I have to check on what they did against Memphis. Hold on a second. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Woo! Feliz Navidad. Absolutely. I mean, fucking everybody masturbates. It's just the best song.
Woo. Man, I know we won the lottery last year, but like the lottery's so.
All right, so this is not true because they shot 35% against Memphis and lost. They went 7 for 20 from 3. I thought that game was the outlier already.
Andrew Gauthier, number one, losing that Lions game was tough. Losing Aleem and Davis potentially for the season was much worse. 2, that onside kick was the first time this season I thought Dan Campbell made a terrible decision. And 3, saving your defense till week 11 is an awful take. Anyone can get injured at any time. Plus, you have to win games before week 11 to make the playoffs. The Lions have had awful injury luck on D this year.
I'm not saying you're saving your all. I'm talking about 4 guys defensively you're trying to keep, and you're keeping about 2 guys on offense. About 6 guys. About 6 guys that help you have reserves in moments like this. And that's all. I'm not saying you're not going to play Brian Branch throughout the season. I'm saying you're trying to have a poor man's Brian Branch ready to go.
But if they do that, then Goodell's he's going to want to go 20 games for a season.
Right.
And when does it end,
Yeah, it's fair. But hopefully the Lions still have time in their window. And I think they will. I'm sorry.
It's over now? Is that where we're at right now?
I'm not saying it's over.
Jesus. Jeff Peterson, MSU, take notice. The Lions' loss can be placed on the inability to generate pressure on Josh Allen and on the Lions' inability to establish the run. Combined with the multitude of injuries, it was eerily reminiscent of MSU.
Well, I mean, obviously the Lions are a much better offense than MSU. But
definitely came out flat yesterday, and they got pushed around a little bit. It was concerning for sure.
The MSU used to actually get off to decent starts, and it was awful. But there is something to right. If you don't have a pass rush and you don't establish the run, it is harder to win. I mean, there are basic truths about football that I would argue between the two.
G.E. Miller, Lions playoff hopes are done for this year. Can't lose as many starters on D. Did I read this one already? Nope. Can't lose as many starters on D. Look like men versus boys out there. Need to add more quality depth for 2025.
One of the things I think people should feel good about the Lions is, number one, this isn't like this was supposed to be the year. And it still might be. They still may figure out a way to get this done. But the other thing is,
nope, it's over.
You have like the way Brad Holmes continues to draft and manipulate the roster. And you do like a guy like you get guys back healthy. You add another Brad Holmes draft. Like, nobody hates that. Nobody hates the idea that they could be really good again next year.
And we're getting free agents now, and players want to come play for Detroit. Yep. It's fantastic. So I think our window is way more wider than some people. Spartan 18770, certain Lion fans are besides themselves over the team's defense. Relax. The modern NFL championship is won on offense. As long as the offense can produce points, they have a chance. Bake Take. Sorry. Bake Take. College sports, especially football.
That sounded real weird. I was like, what do you?
You could have just said, keep reading. Bake Take. College sports, especially football, is a professional sport. The transfer portal is a fancy name for free agency, and the athletes are hired guns. Even though I still have interest in the game, I have no emotional tie to it. I believe many fans feel the same way now.
Yeah, I do wonder if you can have moments where you do. Like I felt like at that Michigan State-Nebraska game last week, people wanted to feel the emotional connection, and they felt a familiar dominance at home, and people stuck around, and it was just people want it still, and they will seek it out, and there will be moments of the connection. I do not think it'll be as strong. I do not think people will get devastated by losing recruits or as invested when they're committed or invested overall. I think you're absolutely right that way. I think that's going to be a hard thing to do because it just is so much more transactional, and the commonality, the common bond that people used to have with the athletes is probably gone forever.
MCV, number one, I said in a previous take that the Lions would need to lose another regular season game in order to make a run in the playoffs. I still stand by it. 2, the Lions will most likely face the Bills in the Super Bowl. Lose now so you can win later when it matters. And 3, social media would look radically different if users were required to use their real name and image in their profiles.
That would be amazing, actually. I don't know about image, but
most sports writers do, right?
Yeah, but just even
annoying.
fans, everybody comes on here and calls me a shitbrick, and a libtard, and all that. Like, if your boss knew you were calling people a libtard, right?
Sir, we have reports that Jeremy was saying libtard on Twitter.
Yeah, right. Let's not do that.
Fired.
Yeah, let's not do that.
You get a raise.
Man. No. It's,
libtard. Dan Campbell's tears next. Number 1, Buffalo will win the Super Bowl. Wow. 2, can Philly or Minnesota please lose? Sweet Jesus. And 3, Christmas lights should come down December 26th.
Where are you on the Christmas lights thing?
Well, what if you put them up on December 15th? like
a little more time. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
We just got around to putting, most of our stuff up. But yeah, I would be down with that. I think by January 1st-ish.
I liked during the pandemic that a lot of people left theirs on through January, and that I know that was just for the pandemic. It was like, hey, let's keep the mood bright. We're into January. None of us can go anywhere.
We have neighbors across the street that they have lights all year. Like
different kinds of lights?
Yeah, but they're Christmas lights, and they have them in their window, and they're...
We put up this year around Halloween, my wife put up this really cool orange light thing in the bush. It looks amazing at night. It's really cool. But, but I think it's all what you're used to. I think people put them up in early November and Thanksgiving are probably ready.
Weird orange thing in the bush? We're supposed to just move on from that? What weird orange thing?
Well, it was
like a pumpkin?
No, it was lights. It was lights in the bush.
All right. I was just wondering if you could explain it. It was just a weird thing.
It was just like Christmas
we're
lights.
supposed to just move
Christmas
on.
lights in a thing. And so I think it's also people feel the same way about trees. Some people get trees early and take them down the 26th. When I was growing up, we used to always get our tree like 2 weeks before Christmas and keep it like 2 weeks after, and that was our window.
Throw it out.
Yeah. And I went once when I was in Freeport. This is bad. I had gotten a tree for us in college, a real tree in the dorms, which we weren't supposed to have. But in Freeport, I got a tree, and I didn't get rid of it until April 1st. Real tree. Embarrassing. Like at a certain point, it became embarrassing. I didn't know how to get rid of it. Like, how do you remove a Christmas tree that you're humiliated to have in the house? And what happened was the woman who helped me get it took a different job and moved, and I missed the date to just put it out by the curb, and then I was like, I'll just take it and dump it in the field, but I needed a truck or something. And
How big was this tree?
It was pretty big. So April 1st, a buddy and I just took it out to a field somewhere, and
like a body.
And yeah, it would have been really cool. We would have looked like mobsters.
Is this tree, you mean like AKA the gay guy you pushed over?
No, and Todd is not that, but he did say, and it killed the moment because I felt like we were disposing of a body. And he said, when he got kind of cut by the tree, he said, "Ooh, prickly," something like that, and I was like, that totally kills the vibe. But so I got rid of it April 1st, and I didn't get a tree for 4 or 5 years after that because I didn't think I could handle it. That is a story not worth telling, but told anyway. Presented by
prickly
our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. If you are looking for a cozy place and a great menu this holiday season to enjoy a date night or anything of that realm.
Don't do anything embarrassing around couch. He's going to tell it on a podcast 10 years from now.
Midtown Brewing Company is here for you. They also have trivia nights, and this Thursday holiday movie trivia night, 7 o'clock at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Really worth it. They do a great job with this. The theme stuff is fun. If you're into holiday movies or you just want to hang out with friends and have a good reason to check out Midtown Brewing Company, they also have gift cards there you can purchase as a gift for people, and people will be impressed if you take a date out there with the menu and the vibes and everything.
All right, Mark, next. My big take is also my best take. College football and NFL should take a month off midseason like La Liga and Bundesliga. Everyone chills out and resets. Injuries get mended. May the best team win. Last team standing shouldn't be literal.
I mean, it'll
never happen. The NFL taking time off.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not a horrible idea in a sense but it's just not. It's not feasible. It works. What happens with La Liga and Liga MX does this really well. Liga MX actually in Mexico plays 2 separate whole seasons. So they play 2 17-game seasons instead of one 34-game season and 2 different playoffs, and it's kind of fun that way. And they take a break as well. It would be amazing if the Lions could be healthier and there were ways to get mended, but a lot of these injuries wouldn't be fixed even with a month. Some of these are longer term.
Some dude, number one, Lions fans are freaking out because we're getting caught with our third string D due to injuries, and it might cost us down the stretch. Couch says to play most of the season with your third string players. Couch, this was sort of cute for a minute, but very, very dumb and belongs in the group of takes that you should retire. You can't make the playoffs at 3-8. 2, the Lions are still good enough to beat most teams, even the way they are. Relax. We're going to need a little luck when playing elite teams like teams always do.
I'm not out on their ability to.
Thanks, some dude. I appreciate you.
Yeah, and you're right on this. Well, first of all, you're right that take should probably be retired. I brought it up one more time. It was sort of a big moment tonight, today, I should say. But I do think there is absolutely still a path for the Lions to win the Super Bowl. When you think of the number of teams you'd rather be today than the Detroit Lions, it's still a small number. I mean, I think you'd rather be Kansas City because of the pedigree of Mahomes. I think you'd rather have Josh Allen and be Buffalo.
Mahomes is hurt now too.
It sounds like it's just a sprained ankle, but yeah, you're right. And you'd rather be Philadelphia, I think. But you start to go beyond that. Maybe Baltimore because they're healthier. But are there 5
they have injuries on D too?
And I would argue maybe the Packers. But to me, I don't think people say the Vikings, I don't trust it. But I would say you would have a hard time getting beyond 6. And, if you can be one of the 6 or 7 teams that people most want to be and are in the best spot.
And how many NFC teams did you mention right there?
I would say Philadelphia and Green Bay are the 2 that stand out to me right now.
All right. David Jackson, MSU hockey is a team of destiny and will win the Natty. Getting 5 of 6 possible points in Minneapolis shows that we are used to the couch speak matchup proof. Anyone near Grand Rapids needs to be at Van Andel to see this team play in person at the GLI. And Bake Take, the GLI being any place other than Detroit is ass. Did the Red Wings kick them out? What the fuck happened?
I can't remember what happened. I know Michigan's not in anymore. I think Van Andel and Grand Rapids is cool for this, and it's a cool showcase. Detroit gets everything like it. To your point, though, it was a really impressive weekend for MSU hockey. And we talked about it last week, and I believe it was David was one of the main takes or questions on that about how important it was. I mean, Michigan State has been ranked 1. Minnesota was ranked 1 at the time and playing out of this world. Michigan State goes into Minneapolis the first day, rallies, wins, and gets the extra point in the shootout, and then is just beats them the second day. 5 out of 6 points in Minneapolis. That is one of those games that goes, huh. Now, my issue with this, you talk about takes that I will and hills I'm going to die on and things that piss me off. The fact that in college hockey it is single elimination through the first 2 games, I agree. Michigan State's going to be one of the favorites if they're healthy and everything. I mean, they look really good. It's still 1 game, bad puck bounce. It sucks, and they ought to change it. And if they want to legitimize their champion, they ought to freaking change it in college hockey. There is no reasonable point. You have, I've said this last week, and you got 47 rounds in the Big Ten fucking tournament. There is zero reason for all that. At best 2 out of 3 in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament for college hockey would make it a better sport, would make it a better tournament, and that needs to happen, and there is zero excuse. And if you're against it, it should be on your in your obituary.
Richard Kane, number 1, Brothers Ishbia, net worth $15 billion. Should fund an endowment of, $1 billion for a MSU NIL fund. It would provide around $100 million a year and instantly make MSU championship contenders in every sport. 2, but what's the return? How about a 200-foot statue in place of Beaumont Tower? Or maybe the school could be renamed Ishbia Michigan State. IMSU has a nice ring to it, no? 3, of course, MSU should not accept unless the Ishbias also fully funded the Lansing Promise.
Thank you, Richard. And also,
Richard knows you because he put that in just to make sure that you didn't say that.
Yeah, child hunger too. A few other things that are more important. There are lots of ways to do that. I mean, it's. You're already seeing the Ishbia situation with the baseball field and other things. There, I know Matt Ishbia is not supposed to technically be like the front man on investment, but investment from Ishbia is not an issue at this point. And I think Izzo's program is still one that very much benefits.
How many billions do you need though? Like if you have 15 billion, and I understand that rich guys get rich because of this, blah blah blah. But like you said, if you break off a bill, you have 14 billion. That's a lot of money.
No,
right?
you see people. Steve Ballmer's trying to give all his money away before he's done. Like you see people trying to do that, and I do. Like Michigan State has some people with a lot of money, and if there's a will, they have the ability to make Michigan State financially a top dog in NIL money. Now, I am still very curious what this looks like when the revenue sharing takes place this July 1st, because you're going to have $19.5 million at Michigan State going directly to student athletes, because $1 million of that can be added in women's scholarships, about 20 to 25 women's scholarships, where they thought that was more beneficial to those sports. But I would be surprised if I don't have a breakdown, but if I had to guess, I would guess 13 million of that, 12 million, 13 million is going to football. And so there's going to be a lot right there in football, and then you're also going to need NIL to supplement it, and how much you have an NIL outside of it. And I am curious to see what that looks like and what because you can tell that both Haller and Jonathan Smith are very eager for this revenue sharing, very eager for it to be in-house, and keep talking about until then the collective is everything. I think the collective is still what separates you in large part, or allows you to then compete with the Oregons of the world and Ohio States of the world afterwards. And maybe I'll be wrong. And I know there's supposed to be, clearinghouse and bigger NCAA rules. I'll believe that shit when I see it. We just haven't seen the NCAA have any teeth on any of this stuff yet.
Ken Chu next. Travis Hunter said, "When I dream at night, I'm fishing on a boat." The Heisman Committee got it right.
I think, look, I understand why people wanted Ashton Genty, but Hunter did something I've never seen before. I've never seen somebody play that many snaps at that high a level on both sides of the ball, right? That's it.
Woodson?
No, he was occasionally a receiver, but he was the defensive back. He'd go in,
but he still played on the offensive side.
Right, so did Tony Lippett. He was good at it, but nobody did it to that extent, to that talent. I mean, I just think it was a rare thing, and it sucks for Genty that he had a year like this in a year where he might have won it otherwise. But that's the way it sometimes breaks.
I like that he's right to Ken Chu's heart, though, talking about fishing.
Absolutely.
Gets his vote. Corey Ostrom, virgin colonoscopy prep, and the anxiety resulting is ass. Literally. No food, no weed. Those are the essentials, for God's sake. To add to it, I've never been sedated or put under anesthesia, and never have I fasted. Is it weird that I asked for no sedation and a bondage ball?
Yeah, a little weird.
A little weird. Anesthesia, you're going to be a big fan of.
Have you had your colonoscopy, first one yet?
I have not yet.
Me neither. We're both in this is like our year for it, right? This is
45. Are we supposed to?
Yeah, I think this is the
first
year.
Is the doctor lying to me? The doctor's telling me I don't know.
No, this is our year.
Doctor said wait 10 more years.
We could go in. We could do it together. We could do our prep, and we could do our whole journey and talk about it.
Hit that anesthesia, doc. I have heard though the prep is just the worst part, but other than that, Corey, you'll be fine. Anesthesia is great. Ricky White III. Graham feels vindicated and a little bit smug after the $45,000 Isaac Pacheco fine for a running back targeting their defensive player with his helmet. However, same play and same hit with Pacheco as the defensive player, it still would not be an illegal hit. What is the NFL doing here?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, you're right. I do like it because I think every one of the tush pushes should be targeting on Jalen Hurts. But
did you fist pump when you saw the fine?
I did.
Got another one right.
Yeah, yes.
About time.
Donuts.
MSU optimist, even the best NFL teams lose. That said, the waves of injuries on D are starting to erode a promising turnaround on that side of the ball. I think this particular game was lost with the slow start from Goff and company, but there are lingering reasons for concern. And bonus, I think the MSU Hoops team can compete with just about anyone in the country, except maybe Auburn right now. The entire Fears family is cordially invited to spend the holiday season at my house in EL this year.
Trying to keep the Fears safe. Understood. No, look, I one of the things I think is going to be fun about covering and watching this Michigan State basketball team is we're still learning about them. We're still learning about what level they can compete at. I think there's some really good teams in the Big Ten who are built to contend too. I think Michigan's pretty tough. I think Illinois, they're young and they're going to lose some games they shouldn't, but is really high ceiling team. And so I think there's going to be a number of it'll be a really interesting team to watch. And I also think that people shouldn't lose their shit when they lose a little bit, because I think 5 or 6 losses is going to get you a share of the title, and I think there will be teams that are going to contend in March out of the Big Ten that are going to have 5 or 6 conference losses.
Kevin from Rochester Hills, number 1, Buffalo is a flawed team. 2, the Lions' loss was not because of coaching or injuries; it was because of the drones.
Apparently, there's drones on the East Coast somewhere or something like that.
Jersey, yeah.
In Jersey, yeah. Maybe that
is that news to you since you don't have Twitter? Like, what do you mean?
I did learn late. Yeah, no, I feel like my mother now, who finds out about things she read 6 weeks after they happened, and we're on our walks.
You don't read a paper or anything,
Well, yeah,
NewYorkPost.com or something.
Yeah, well, no, and if you wait for the print product, we give you that news 6 weeks later too. So it's always good. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, more of your takes. Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, Crafted Cannabis, and our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with one awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options Crafted Cannabis. Go to pureoptions.com or just swing by any location. Let yourself start to feel better. They can talk you through whatever you might want. You'll enjoy the quality. You'll enjoy the service. You'll enjoy how they treat you and how their products make you feel. Again, pureoptions.com. And our Monday afternoon show brought to you by Muskox Quality Flannels. I'm telling you right now, I am wrapped in the comfort and warmth of a muskox almost every day these days, and feel fantastic. Look as good as I possibly can, as hideous as I look without one. It is really a transformation. I take one off, my wife shudders. I put one on, she's attracted to me. It's that simple. Go muskox.com and the promo code FIXIT in post, all one word, for Couch and the Rube listeners. All right, back to the takes.
Kurt Wisniewski, I believe that Indiana will beat Notre Dame, and there's no way SMU belongs in the college football playoff. Their ass.
I don't mind this. I don't mind teams that deserve to be in getting there, even if they're not the best team. I think if we take the 12 most deserved, we get the 8 best, and I'm good with that. Indiana Notre Dame is maybe the game I'm most intrigued to watch. I don't know. Is there a game in this first round that you're like, I really want to see that?
I'm with you. I kind of want to see how SMU plays, right? If they get blown out, will the committee next year hesitate to put a team like SMU in? I don't know. But yeah, Indiana, I definitely want to see. But we watched them against Ohio State. I think Notre Dame's D is unbelievable. So with the 7.5 points in that one. So yeah, I'm interested in both of those games too. So M Sports Takes with the new reality in excuse me, in college athletics and MSU being a have, MSU should be in a better spot to compete nationally at more secondary sports. MSU needs to choose where to invest and invest heavily where there to win national championships. And bonus, YouTube TV is raising prices $10 a month to $83 for the base package. Any recommendations on where to change to save a few bucks? All I care about is sports. And Bake Take, I can't believe I'd never had two TVs next to each other until 2 months ago. Complete game changer. Welcome to it.
Yeah, it does make a difference. It's nice, especially you got a couple things going on. You're on a treadmill. Feels good. What I would say about YouTube TV is, from what I've heard, and I don't have it, we have Xfinity. We've stuck with cable even though we stream it. Just because I still think and YouTube would be the one I would switch to if I switch, because it's, from what I've heard, it's the best. They're the most options, and it's just, this is the cost of doing business, and you lose a lot when you trim. A lot of them aren't that much cheaper. There are ways to do it. You can research it, but what I don't know is what you're willing not to have, right? And that's the thing. You have to decide what you don't need as part of your TV package. If you care about a lot of sports and you care about movies or whatever, and how many other streaming services do you have? We have everything, so we pay like $65 million a month or something like that. It's
either you just open up the wallet and just, if you're a sports fan anyway,
yeah,
right?
There's no way around.
It's easier to cut costs when you're not a sports fan.
Yeah, I mean, one of the.
Because we have Spectrum cable and it's over $100 a month, but what are we supposed to,
And ours is tied to our Wi-Fi.
It's tied to the internet, and then if you just have the internet, then they're like, well, you can get this for $12 more a month. It's all just a scam. So what are they gonna do? Jay Riemenschneider, Michigan's basketball's defense is good, offense is timely. So if the Wolverines can cut down the turnovers, they will be ranked top 10 all season. And two, with all the rambling you guys do, Graham, you didn't answer One Ball Bainey's question about who would have the next first-round pick, MSU basketball, football, or hockey. And Baked, damn it, Graham, every time I hear any version of Feliz Navidad, I have to yell woo. And it's all your dang fault. Ha, ha, ha.
So, first of all, you're welcome on the Feliz Navidad. Can we hear that real quick? Just for everybody. Woo! Yeah. Oh, I thought we were going to go for a while. Good. Anyway, One Ball Bainey's question: who will have the next first-round pick? I thought we did answer this, but if not, I would think it would be. I mean, Jace Richardson has a chance to be whenever he comes out. I would think Nick Marsh is still, obviously 2 years away. And hockey, it's probably hockey because they've probably got somebody they're recruiting who's coming in who will be a first-round pick the way they're recruiting right now. So if I had to bet it, I would bet. Well, Jace Richardson, I don't know if he'll be around after this year, and he could be on that fringe. So it's either basketball or hockey.
Tyler, next. The Bills could have scored 100 points, but the Lions can win a Super Bowl without the Bills or Ravens even being involved. Scheme is not great versus mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or when you're out of linebackers, it sucks when you're playing a quarterback like Allen.
Yeah, and Allen's not just a mobile quarterback. He's an unbelievable passer. He's an unbelievable playmaker. There's very few people like him who've ever played the game. Maybe nobody who's ever been quite like him.
Do people forget Patrick Mahomes?
I'm talking
I heard people talking about Allen the same way you just did. I was like, wait a minute, Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen.
I would still take Mahomes over Allen if you made me choose it.
But you just said Allen is the best quarterback.
No.
planet.
I'm saying what he is he's different in terms of size and ability. Like there's just been nobody else has been like Elway could move, but he wasn't 6'6". You know what I mean? Like there's very few guys that big, that powerful, that good throwing who also run. I mean,
one of your best takes is the Bills should trade Josh Allen. Was that last year?
It's not
2 years ago.
It was a while ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
It was a while ago. It was like 2019, I think. It was not a great take. God, I forgot about that. Please don't remind people.
Steve
Fix that in post.
Whitico, expectations were different for this Lions team, but I have a similar feeling that was associated with the Tigers' run this season. Until the season is over, I'm still having a blast. Empty backfield golf was fun. Go Lions. Bonus take, look up BCS Young Boys Stadium's name. Good grief. Bonus. I realized I am now old, and you guys are my circle of men drinking coffee at McDonald's. Cheers, fellas.
You know the Young Boys Stadium? We've gone over this once before. Wankdorf.
Cockburn.
Yeah.
Wankdorf.
What are they? Are they
Stadium. Are they just like under the radar, just being like, young boys and
yeah? Let me find out. What is Wankdorf?
Mule Deer Stadium.
What is Wankdorf?
Oh yeah. Check out images.
Jesus, now I'm really worried about this.
You'll see your uncle.
It's just a stadium. I don't know what it's also. What does Wankdorf mean? Wank in German. I know that. Jesus, I don't know why it's the Wankdorf Stadium. There must be some corporate name. I'm just scared to go down this road on my computer looking up Wankdorf. Yeah, it's
checking that out. Too long.
Pulling up last night's browser history. Whoops. No. Continue.
Pornhub. Jebediah, I never thought a Couch in the Roof show could be labeled as sexual content on YouTube, but minute 47 to 48 of the last show proves anything is possible. Bonus, fuck football. Dumb fucking sport anyway. Who needs it? Everything sucks.
Well, we gave you some sexual content today with Wankdorf as well. The donuts,
the young boys.
The donuts.
Soccer's a weird sport, man.
Well, so is football, though. Have you ever seen those like reels where the two women are watching football and they're talking about all the things, all the announcers are saying about a football game? And
absolutely not.
I will send it to you and we will play it because it's really, really funny. We should play it on the show at some point. Yeah, but no, it's true. I mean, I have very few sexual experiences better than a groovy donut in my mouth.
What? Scott Green's El Camino. Andy Katz is an idiot. If he ranked, excuse me, Jesus. If he ranked breakfast cereals, he would have Fruity Pebbles first. Big take. The Spartan Stadium remodel needs pure option rooms, like the smoking ones in airports.
They still have smoking rooms in airports?
I know they do in the Vegas one, right? Vegas?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
What to say?
Pure options would be nice. Groovy donuts and pure options rooms. There are lots of suggestions. We will be part of the suggestion. We will be part of this. I'm going to have it.
Can you ask Alan Haller about that?
Well, we'll do a whole thing. We'll put our suggestions and we'll put a packet together and I'll present them to Alan. This is what the Couch and the Rube listener base.
That would get me to go to games, though. If I could smoke weed and watch the game,
yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah, I agree.
It's great. Neurotic Pants. Number one, we live in absolutely strange fucking times. That's it. That's the take. What about your mom, though? I thought you can't swear. 2, the next time Izzo makes it to the Final Four, he'll retire. 3, MSU would absolutely beat both Army and Navy in football. Those are MAC-level teams with decent special teams and tough-as-nails quarterbacks. Be fun to see.
I was right on my Navy pick over Army, by the way.
Nice pick, man.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really know what I was talking about, but I just had a gut feel that Army wasn't that good, and they were not. I wouldn't mind seeing Michigan State play Army and Navy once in a while. People don't like playing them when they play the style where there's a lot of chop blocking at the knees and stuff. Teams just don't like it, but they're a brand that's decent enough. It's a game you're probably going to win, and people would like to go see Michigan State play Army and Navy.
But you did take the Steelers versus the Eagles, right?
I did. That I did.
Sorry.
And I took the Seahawks over the Packers, I think.
I did, too.
Yeah.
Stupid.
As soon as I saw the uniforms, I was like, hedge, hedge. I thought we killed these in 2019 with Michigan State. Like, if you cannot take a man seriously wearing that level of neon and that shade. It's just ridiculous.
Thomas, BTN does not have enough programming to justify not showing more hockey and women's hoops on the main channel. Bonus, there's too much melancholy Christmas music. It's already gray and dark outside. Trying to be festive shouldn't make my mood more despondent.
Well, that's what we have. Feliz Navidad.
Big 10 plus is ass.
Oh, I thought you could play it. You're right. I think BTN, there are times where I'm like, why is this? I mean, I know stuff, live programming isn't expensive to show, but they don't do as much broadcasters traveling anyway. They do it all from a studio. You'd like to see more of it. They're doing a little bit better with hockey, but yeah, there are times you're like, how is this hockey game not on? Like, how is this not on? And it's very, very frustrating.
Witty username. I think it would be fun to rank the worst takes of the show. Maybe a cumulative worst taker of the year award. So many to choose from.
I feel like most of them would be mine, so I don't know. If
Couch would be you're the MVP of that. But I mean, we could have a listener worst taker.
We need somebody to keep track. That's the problem.
And it would be kind of mean, ask people to write in. Oh, yeah, by the way, congratulations. You're the worst taker we have.
Well, if it came with like a muskox flannel, it'd be a hell of a deal. People could. The problem is we don't want the prize to be so good that like people are gunning for the worst take. Like, all we're getting is bad takes. Like there's a muskox flannel involved because a lot of people would, I don't know,
bomb it. Lions reply guy. Number 1, Graham, is the stating the same takes over and over again a bit, or do you honestly think they're so good that you need to state them over and over again on the off chance someone missed it the first 675 times? It doesn't come off as a bit. 2, the Lions lost for the second time all season to a Super Bowl contender coming off a loss, and now the sky is falling. Somehow you spin MSU trash seasons into a positive, but the 12-2 Lions, it's a wrap. And lost to Tampa Bay, who Mayfield looks great.
I'd like to think I'm not spinning things here, but yeah.
We just have this.
Caution. You are about to enter the spin zone with noted newspaper columnist and radio host Graham Couch.
Yeah, that lie was built on a house of cards there. But the couple things on my takes. The reason I say them over and over is the fixes have not been made yet. Like when I say college basketball needs 6 fouls, I stop saying it as soon as they go to 6 fouls. But if the right people aren't hearing it, I feel like it's unfortunately you have to hear it 675 times, and I very much appreciate that. Dealing with
Are they saved tweets at least? Like you don't actually
I write them every
form
time.
a new
they're all in my head.
Oh
yeah, it's not like I have these things as
I mean,
drafts.
I know you're not on your phone anymore, but when you're on your laptop tweeting.
Yeah. No, they're all new. They're all fresh.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Money bag, number 1, it'd be nice to have a cornerbacks coach while we try to add cornerbacks in the portal. 2, it sucked going over a week without getting to see our basketball team play. Been way too long since I've been able to say that about football or basketball. That's true. It's been too long here.
It doesn't feel like they usually go 10 days, which is what they did this time, which it was a noon game, I think, right, to start. So like all the way to a Tuesday night. So yeah, it is a long stretch, but
when you're playing well, it's like, man,
people want to see more.
Stagnant here.
Yeah. But Oakland, ESPN2 on Tuesday night.
DMB, the one benefit of Spartan football showing their ass and missing another bowl game, there is no false hope. A few less injuries, turnovers, and this team is 7-5 and a lot less scrutiny from fans. And 2, top third of the Big Ten of NIL, huh? No way you can let Chuck Brantley walk then. Stop blaming the kids and pay up if you want to be a big boy program.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's gone in the portal a lot, and he's used it probably partly for NIL, but I also think he's been really good for MSU's program, and he would help them to have next year. I'll be curious to see what happens. It's interesting because, I was a little surprised. Like, to me, Brantley should be a priority and not somebody who needs to go in the portal, but maybe Brantley sees it as, I'm going to see what else is out there and then, have them match rather than just get a fair offer. And so that might just be a way he's playing. I would be surprised. I still would be surprised partly if Brantley's not back. Maybe he's upset the way things went. I don't know Brantley personally. I don't know what's going on in his life. I don't know if, Demetrius Martin leaving really upset him or whatever. But so I don't know where that's going. But you would think he would be somebody to be a priority because he's a good player.
Matt C. Graham, can we also add a D-end in your O-line specific NIL collective? I'm seeing no activity in the portal on the defensive line, and I have no idea who will be rushing the passer next year. And this was already the worst D-line in college football. This program is a train wreck. And bonus, this is the first year in a long time Izzo can't use lack of practice as an excuse, which I think is good for a younger team. Big Ten championship incoming.
So your final line of your first one, Matt C., is where you sometimes go overboard. So you're not seeing any activity. But there's lots of things that could be happening. I don't know what they are. I'm not included on a daily basis to every phone call that's made or things like that. And so you conclude this program is a train wreck. like it's a big leap from I'm not seeing it. It's been a few days. F it. The program is a train wreck. That's where I think it's just a bit too far. I do like your idea though. I think a rush end would be smart to have. You could have all sorts of like specialized things that you really wanted, and a rush end would be helpful.
Hans Jurgen, number 1, if I was interrogating the Rube, I would threaten him with 24 hours of soccer talk. 2, unlike Graham, the eyes of Spartan Nation were on the MSU women's basketball team, and they didn't disappoint. And 3, I'm too lazy to find the times and broadcasting channels for MSU hockey. And bonus, refereeing women's basketball is the toughest job in sports.
I don't think that would be the case. It's less above the rim. They're just.
I think you meant to put bake take. Instead of bonus.
Yeah. And if you were interrogating them 24 hours of soccer talk,
I would just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right? You'd never get anything out of me.
It wouldn't work.
Just zone out like usual.
No. I'm a little worried that I cut some of Jake's. I see one from Jake, and I don't see the others. There's no way Jake had one.
Impossible.
But we're going to go with it, Jake, and I apologize.
That's all couch, Jake.
Yeah, I apologize.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Let's do the Hawk here. Great game by the MSU women's basketball team for a gutsy performance against Iowa, and thank you for writing 3 quick takes on the victory. I'm glad I tuned into the Big Ten Network and watched the game. I was worried when Iowa was hitting threes, and I think Caitlin Clark should have made the trip.
Well,
Hawk really wanted her to make the trip.
Yep. No, it was a good. I mean, it is clear that program has been elevated. Like, have a fan base that travels. Like, there were several hundred Iowa fans at least, maybe 1,000 if you counted all the little pockets in Breslin. No, it wouldn't be 1,000, maybe 500. But it was a good crowd for Michigan State. It was a big game. It was a big opportunity because I think people really want to get on board this team. They play a great brand of basketball. They're entertaining. And I'm telling you, the way they wear them down late in games, like this was a game that Iowa was in control of in the third quarter. And early in the fourth was up 9. And Michigan State then goes on like a 14-0 run. And, I mean, some of the defense they play and the way they pick up. I would piss my pants against some of those traps. Probably shouldn't. Why did I say that?
I don't know.
Dumb thing to say. Anyway, but they're fun to watch. They're going to be really good. I think they're going to be a team that has a chance to be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, which would mean home games in the NCAA tournament at Breslin, which would be very cool as well.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy finally here. Artificial turf is the worst, and athletes should be demand a change to protect their livelihoods. And bonus, handcuffing deaf people takes away their freedom of speech.
Thank you, Upper Deck Jerk Guy.
Is that a Blue Sky reference?
I don't know where he's coming from that, but I appreciate it. It's something to chew on, right? I do think turf, I used to think turf had reached the point where it was the safest grass. It's clear that's not the case. It would be interesting if there are more and more studies on it, and there are some. You see in soccer, top guys won't go places that are playing turf, and it hurts in the MLS, and I'll be curious to see which way, it's cheaper to have turf, which way this goes in the future, because I think it can be a selling point if you have grass, if it's safer on your knees, on your head, on everything. So we will see. We appreciate all of you and all of your takes and for producing our show as you always do. We appreciate, of course, Midtown Brewing Company. Great place to go for trivia for this Thursday, for a drink after work, for a lunch, for a holiday meal, whatever it might be. Date night over the holidays. We appreciate, of course, our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Go Muskox. And, of course, Pure Options. Crafted cannabis, pureoptions.com. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.